We're diving into the frustrating no overload matches this call error in your express.js API. This error typically pops up when you're trying to use a function, often a middleware function or a route handler, but the way you're calling it doesn't match any of its defined versions, overloads. Let's break down how to troubleshoot and fix this. 1. Understanding function. Overloads. Think of function overloads like having multiple versions of the same function, each accepting different input parameters. For example, you might have a function that can handle both a string and a number as input. If you try to call it with a Boolean, you'll hit the no overload matches this call error because there's no version of the function defined to handle Booleans. 2. Common causes in express.js. In Express, this often happens with middleware functions like write single quote express.json, or write single quote express.erlang-coded, or even your custom route handlers. If you're misusing a built-in middleware function by supplying unexpected arguments, or if your custom middleware expects certain parameters that you're not providing, you'll see this error. Similarly, if your route handlers have different parameter lists, for example, one takes a request object and a response object, while another tries to add a third argument, and you inadvertently call the wrong version, this error will occur. 3. Debugging strategies. First, meticulously check the function's definition. Verify that the parameters you're passing exactly match the type and order of the parameters in one of the defined function signatures. Carefully examine the documentation for the specific middleware or function you're using to confirm the expected arguments. Second, use your debugger or console logging to inspect the values you're passing into the function. Ensure that the data types are what you expect. For instance, if a function expects a number, make sure you're not accidentally passing a string. If you're working with objects, double-check that the keys and values exist and have the correct types. Third, if you have custom middleware, review your function signature thoroughly. Are you inadvertently calling it with extra or missing parameters? If you suspect a problem with your custom functions, you might add error handling in the form of try-catch blocks. 4. Example scenario. Let's say you have a middleware function designed to handle only post requests. If you accidentally apply it to a GET request route, even if the route handler signature is correct, you might encounter this error because the middleware function itself is not applicable to GET requests. You should ensure that the function application makes sense relative to the nature of the request method. 5. Preventing future errors. Write clean and well-documented code. Always carefully check the documentation and use consistent naming conventions for your variables and functions. When designing your functions, strive for clear parameter types and minimize overloads when possible. Having fewer overloads makes it less likely that you'll accidentally call a function incorrectly. Use a consistent coding style and make use of linters, tools that analyze your code for potential errors, to catch these types of errors early in the development process. Thorough testing of your API after code changes will significantly reduce the occurrences of this error.